Good morning. Hi, I'm Frank Messina, and this is the November 21st, 2023 meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. Before we begin, we have some announcements. Just note, this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. Thank you. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 signing of Acts 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 30A-20, until March 31st, 2025, this meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately address the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410, conference ID 441-808-03#, or by joining the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link posted on the agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Thank you very much. First item to dispense with is the roll call. Mr. Lear, Vice Chair.
Here.
Clerk, Mr. Burlingame.
Here.
Don Aikman.
Here.
Stephanie Hamilton.
Here.
Sandy Porter.
Here.
Janet Tennyson.
Here.
Robert Stevens.
Here.
Robert is participating remotely, and the chair is present. We have a full number of 7 members of the commission present, so the alternate, Mr. Stevens, will participate in the meeting but will not be a voting member. Just a quick announcement while I've got everybody's attention. We do have a second alternate position open. We would hope to fill it if anyone is interested in joining this august body as member of the Historical Commission. We appreciate it. We were able to convince the legislature to provide alternates to the Historical Commission a number of years ago, and it has been helpful to have at least 1 or 2 members who can fill in when we're not around. Okay, just quickly, we have quite a long agenda, so I'm going to move as quickly as we can. I just want to make 2 announcements from a chairman's report quickly before we get into the minutes. And on your agenda and in the chairman's report, we could talk more about it later, but probably for more members of the public here than there will be in the next hour and a half. At our December 5th, 2023 meeting, which is the next regular meeting of the Historical Commission, Holly Herbster of PAL Archaeological Research has completed the update of the town-wide archaeological survey of the town. And she will be making a full presentation to the membership on December 5th. I don't believe we have any hearings on December 5th.
We have
One hearing, so it should be a short meeting. And I think, that would be just very interesting to not only members of the commission, but also members of the public to get a bird's eye view of what's going on with the archaeological history of town and how much we know, especially since the Nickerson dig was completed and the Nickerson Family Association, as well as at the Atwood dig. So just a quick reminder that those 2 activities are going to be presented formally at the December 5th, 2023 meeting. Okay, we have 2 minutes, 2 copies of 2 minutes for one for October 3rd, 2023. Any corrections, additions, deletions? Okay, I have a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of October 3rd and October 17th.
Well, why don't we just do one at a time?
Okay, October 3rd.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Second.
Any other comments? None? Quick roll call. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame?
Yes.
Mr. Aikman?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Sandy, you were? You're not here. And Janet?
Yes,
And Mr. Stevens?
he was here.
Robert, you were
Yes.
here? Yes, thank you very much. And the chair abstains, I was absent. Okay, the next set of minutes we have is October 17th, 2023.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of October 17th, 2023.
Okay, the second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, just one minor correction. Make a notation that Mr. Lear was chairman of the meeting, although I was present, I was not acting as chair. And once again, Bob, thank you very much for filling in for me. Okay, so we'll proceed with the motion as amended. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Sandy?
She wasn't here.
Thank you. Janet?
Yes,
And Robert?
Yes.
Thank you. And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Okay, that was quick. Let's see if we can do the rest as quickly. Okay, the first item on the agenda is hearing 23049, 9 Scallop Terrace. Got a feeling of deja vu with this one.
yeah.
And now we're in a full demolition, so something must have happened that I don't know about. This is a property down by the ocean, close. No Form B, not a National Register District, low on the priority. But if I recall, this was going to be saved, but
True.
lightning struck. Okay, with that narrative, or can you give me a quick interpretation of what's going on?
I'll give you a quick why we changed our minds. We moved down here full-time, my wife and I. So we plan to live in the house full-time. We have a house on Ridgeville Road as well. We'll probably spend maybe winters, but for the most part, we'll live in Scallop. So unfortunately, 680 square feet just wasn't sufficient for the two of us. So that's the decision. And as well as you'll know, the rest of the street is going through significant renovations and updates and upgrades. So we're the fourth of 6 houses on the street now that will go up and be raised. The 5th house will go up as well, and my neighbor to the right of us has also indicated an interest to go up. So 6 of 6 at some point. So it'll be a completely new street. I'll let Donnie speak to the house, the specifics of the house itself, but that's the background. We're very excited to live here, and we're excited about the potential changes. Okay? Questions on that?
Good morning. Donnie Dunham, DeMartin Dunham Builders. Christina, do you have the rendering of the, or does, yeah. Yeah. Can you expand? Yeah. So this is a rendering of the proposed structure, which is in character of the neighborhood, shingle-style home, red cedar roof, 4-over-nothing grills. Like Rob said, this would be number 5 of the 6 homes in the neighborhood to be recently approved for such a project. Yeah.
Can I ask a couple of quick
Yep,
questions?
absolutely.
Well, obviously, you said you're going to move full-time, and it's obviously none of our business per se, in a sense, but that you are moving full-time. But I guess I have a question in terms of the elevation that you have to elevate it to.
They're all like that.
What's the level that you have to go to for your living area?
So we have to go to AE 13 +1, so it'll meet FEMA compliance with the lower level where the two overhead doors are in the rendering, would be in the flood zone. So none of that space would be finished.
So what is about 10 feet over the existing?
Roughly, a little less than that, but yep.
So you have to go from the existing level to 10 feet just to meet the flood requirement?
Exactly. Yep.
So this is I know this, I'm not too much in flood, but this is like violent flood, waves, or just water?
So the A zone is not a velocity zone, so it's just,
Velocity
it's a
zone.
flowage, it's more of a water impact than a wind impact. With that being said, we still need to build to wind compliance, but if it was in a velocity zone, the lower level wouldn't be closed in, it would have to be on pilings.
Right, so none of that is breakaway.
Correct.
That's all
Just flood-
structure.
Correct. So this is just smart vent. So there are smart vents, you can't see them in the rendering, but they're based on square footage of flowage. So there'll be vents that are cut into the foundation that would allow water to come and go, to prevent any hydrostatic pressure on the structure.
And is all the mechanicals, electrical above that?
Everything's above flood, yep. So on the rear, there'll be you'll have your condenser, generator, any outside mechanicals, and then the electric panel and anything like that would be within the living space.
Yeah. I'm asking it unfortunately because we're getting a lot of these.
Yeah.
And it certainly doesn't
Change.
meet our streetscape or
Understood.
historical preservation element. You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah,
it's the Grand Banks, it's like, it's North Carolina, South Carolina.
right.
Okay, any other questions or comments from members of the commission? Okay, fait accompli. All right, so I guess we need a motion relative to, I think at the last time we voted not historically significant?
You did, no.
You voted it was
It
historic.
was, it was,
Oh,
no delay.
well, that's interesting.
Step,
Well, that's just what I was thinking. This is a difficult situation because we're saying it's historically significant and then have to say that the changes would not diminish the historical significance, but clearly tearing it down does. So that's one of the issues we have with the number of houses in this changing neighborhood. But
Steph,
Yeah, the roof, under the roof lines, I'm a little ignorant. What are the boards coming out?
They're just exposed rafter tails.
So they don't
for-
have to be like that.
They don't have to be, but it adds to the cottage feel, which would kind of fit with the original aesthetic. Yep. It's purely a design aesthetic, it's not structural.
So, we've already determined that your cute little house there was historically significant. And
Like the
so
five others.
question before the commission, or that we need to discuss, and I guess, let me just do this formally. Does any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? None? Okay, so we're gonna close it and discuss it amongst ourselves. So the situation, guys, is we determined that this property, this home, was historically significant, and I guess we did it, in my mind, because of the charm and the character of the home and of the neighborhood, notwithstanding the fact that other homes were being, trying to find a nice word,
approved?
changed, which weren't historically significant. So, do we then agree that I mean, it's been pretty difficult in my mind to vote for something that was 6 months ago, 9 months ago was historically significant, and nothing happened, and now it's not historically significant. So my
Frank, can I
druthers
ask a quick
is
question, if
that
I may?
we make, excuse me.
Excuse me. Go
My
ahead.
druthers is that we make the first motion reaffirming the historical significance, and then decide what we're gonna do about it. Is that reasonable? That doesn't say we have to do anything, but we just have to reaffirm the historical significance to be consistent with our previous decision. You can say something is historically significant and not do anything.
Okay, well, we can do that.
Yes, you have a question, Jack?
No, so we can do that and then move on.
Okay, fine.
Frank, I have a revised version of that, if I might.
Yes,
The historical significance finding obviously is based on being 75 years old or more and meeting some of the other criteria. And I think one of the criteria that we said it meant was that it possesses architectural value or significance in terms of period and style. either by itself or in conjunction with a group of buildings or structures. And that's, to me, in my mind, what made it historically significant. That little cottage in and of itself was not, but as you said, the whole fleet of little cottages around it is certainly significant in the town of Chatham. So that's another way of looking at it. It's no longer historically significant because all the other, most of all the other little cottages are no longer with us.
That's right.
You should have been a lawyer.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well.
It didn't work out.
In any
That's a
motion,
valid point.
so be it. Bob, if you would make a motion, we'll see the rest of the commission. Oh, sorry, Mr.
Let's hear from another lawyer. If we agree, maybe it's right.
Yes, Steve.
I think we should try to make it clear too, that what we were talking about is the structure, was historically significant as
Yes.
opposed to the property.
Yeah, I would agree.
So that structure is not going to exist, shortly. And so I don't think it's inconsistent at all for us to find that it's now that it's not historically significant because the structure is what we were dealing with before, and it's not the structure we're dealing with now.
All right, we thought this was an easy one. Bob, why don't you make a motion? Let's see what happens.
Well, the motion would be that the property at 9 Scallop Terrace is no longer historically significant, so I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building or structure located at 9 Scallop Terrace is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2, A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Steve. Okay, any other discussion? I don't agree, but let's go ahead. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Stephanie?
No.
Sandy?
No.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes no, but the motion passes 4-3. So, thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
found the home no longer historically significant because you decided to live here.
No, it's the surrounding homes, I think, that's changed the.
All right.
I think
Good
you'll
luck.
appreciate it.
And
Thanks.
welcome to Chatham.
Thank you, Frank, appreciate it.
All right,
Cheers.
okay. Here we go. Oh, that took too long. All right, 107 Highland. This is 23050. This is a property that there is a Form B on this property, which you have, which hopefully you've scanned. It is not listed in the National Register District. This property has been before us before, which was found historically significant, though no demolition delay was added. Then it was back to us in 2020, when it was found historically significant again, and a 12-month delay, which expired. The determinations has since, they did not act after we gave the 12-month delay, and here we are, another deja vu. So, again, for public's information, this property was built in 1927, quite a nice little home on a nice street, and we viewed it was historically significant. So we're kind of back in the same mode of what was historically significant. Nothing has changed, but now you want to do what, sir?
Demolish the building, yeah. Originally, when we filed for the demolition 3 years ago, I think there was a engineering survey done by McKinsey Consultants, and they found that the foundation was insufficient and framing problems for support of a remodeled building were impractical. So they decided that they wanted to demolish the building and put up a new house. There were a number of zoning and design issues, and that delayed the implementation of the demolition. So those, a number are being resolved now. We still have to go back before the zoning board for a special permit, but we're working through those. The proposed new structure building is approximately exactly the same square footage as the existing building, but significantly lower and set further back from the road. And the plan is to, as you look at that handout that I gave, you can see that the elevation to the right is what you see from Highland Avenue will be much smaller and hidden. And the design was to try and make it compatible with the house on 119 Highland. And so that's pretty much where we are right now.
So this is not the same design you showed us 2 years ago?
No.
And you
It's
obviously...
smaller and
Okay,
less,
you obviously, at the time, if I recall, you know, you did not want to lift the house and improve the foundation in order to be able to do a second story,
right.
which you could do.
Well, I mean, what the owners would like is to have essentially.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were the owner, I apologize.
No. Well, it's
I'm
too
sorry.
bad. I wish I was the owner, but
I'm sorry.
not. Anyway,
apologize for
that they want essentially a garage that they could park underneath and then have a.
I'm sorry, I missed that, I apologize. Your position again?
I'm the representative of the owners.
And your name?
The attorney?
George Riley.
The attorney?
No, I have a landscape architecture.
Say again?
Landscape architecture.
The landscape architect, and we have that permission for the applicant to, okay. Just to keep things up and up,
Sure.
okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, please proceed.
So they wanted as you can see, a garage underneath and a small living area above. And that's, and to remodel the existing structure for that would be virtually impossible. And that's where we are now.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay, so we're back and to the same thing. We have a property which, with the Form B, I remember the site visit very clearly, on a rather nice structure. We determined that the property was in fact historically significant, and we imposed a delay to ask the applicant, unfortunately who's not with us, Western Massachusetts, to take a, like another think through, could you possibly save the house and still incorporate a new design? But that doesn't seem what they want to do here. They prefer just to go ahead, tear it down and start it over again. In my view, the issue of the structural, the engineering report is that, well, you got a foundation that needs some work. It's not like the house is falling down, correct?
It's not falling down.
And it could be reinforced.
Yes, at a
Yes.
significant
Okay,
expense.
It's
though.
money.
Yeah.
So now we've got to deal with the issue of historical significance, which is the first item that we deal with relative to it. Does anybody have any other comments as it relates to historical significance and whether or not we want to change our mind and say it's not historical significance?
No. It's a historic,
It is,
96 years.
We seem to have consensus. So let's take the first vote and get that out of the way. So the vote would, or the motion would be relative to historical significance. Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the issue of historical significance? Seeing none, Mr. Lear?
I move that the Chatham Historical Commission find that the structure located at 107 Highland Avenue is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more, And it is associated with many historical persons and events from the town history, and it possesses architectural value or significance in terms of the period, style, and method of construction.
Second.
Second, second by Janet. All right, no other comments?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you explain the roof?
Well, we're just voting on
Yeah,
it.
We're just voting on
let's-
this
let's-
now?
Let's
Okay,
finish historical
okay.
significance. I'm sorry, thank you very much, Janet. You should be chair down at that end.
no.
Okay, roll call, Mr. Lear,
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. Now the question is, what do we do about it? I'm sorry, proceed.
I would like explained what, about the roof design.
Oh, I think that's a cathedral ceiling above the first floor apartment. And it's,
What-
a
The apartment. of-
yeah, that's
Yeah.
What is the square or the rectangle?
the rectangle. I'm not sure
It's
what you
highlighting the height,
mean.
I think.
You're talking, oh, wait a minute, I'm not allowed to leave this point, but
Above the point.
There's a pointer you
where
can use.
The
the
square around
diamond
the
is
point.
on the top, is that what
Yes.
we're talking about?
Yes.
I think.
We have a pointer there,
Yeah.
sir. Sir?
Oh, I do, thank you. Thank you. How do you work this there?
Just press.
Oh, it's a,
It's this little point here.
oh, I got you, thanks. All right, brilliant. Over here, well, if we look at this side, there, this is the peak, all right? This is looking from the left of the building, and there's a peak here. This is the peak looking that way. So this,
What's the,
Is
what's
that-
the rectangle around that
The peak.
peak?
the rectangle around the peak here, is that what you're
Yes,
speaking of?
yes.
That is this.
Yeah, I think
See?
the issue here, excuse me for interrupting, Steph, is your concern is that it's just completely inconsistent with
The neighborhood.
the neighborhood or the streetscape, and
I think it matches the building to the
Oh.
right.
the
If you look
duct
at it.
just came down. That's the wrong thing to compare it
Right.
with.
No, yeah, not the one to the left.
Ah,
which is-
okay, the one to
Which
the
is the modern one that seems to be getting a lot of
Yeah.
critics.
Well, I think
It's the
that's
one to
part
the
of-
right, that's the more contemporary, more Cape Cod style home,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's certainly not a Cape Cod style. It's,
More Cape Cod style than the one to the left.
yeah, well, the one to the left is,
Not,
Not.
okay.
okay.
I think what we're
All right,
trying to
but you
say.
can see that, of course, that this then, if you look at it, is this is all below grade. This you don't see. The grade is here, where the pointer is. So this is the only part of the building that you see from the road.
I'll be honest with you, it's very difficult for us to make decision, in my mind, especially from a landscape point of view, what's happening to that street or what's happening to that property.
Right.
Or what we're gonna, not that we don't allow it, you're gonna have to go through the zoning board.
Yes.
Good luck with them.
Planning.
But I think at this particular point, personally, I think there's concern that, having come back with it, and, if we impose a delay, which I assume you're talking to the owners,
Yes.
they could come back next week, with something, well, we took another look and, and
Right.
New
it's
design.
not forever,
Right.
but that's my view. I don't know how anybody else feels. Steph?
So that rectangle is that roof showing behind the point?
Now I'm confused again.
Okay,
So
that,
this rectangle.
Yes.
Is this.
so that is showing,
Yes, so it's be like a cross at the top and two peaks go out that
two
way.
Okay,
peaks
look.
go out, okay.
Yes.
I'd like to stop that discussion. It's just not that clear to us, all right?
Okay.
Let's leave it like that way. And the drawings you provided just don't give us a good sense, at least a feeling.
I agree.
Do we have a kind of a consensus that we're gonna have to impose another delay on this?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, yes. Don, yes? Yes.
But,
Excuse
excuse
Go
me,
ahead, Seth.
may I make, just say something? You've never been before us, have you? You yourself?
He's been
Sorry.
before.
Yes.
You have, then you know that we need a set of plans that show existing and a set of plans that show what the proposed.
Yes.
And it seems kind of incomplete. So I am not opposed to having another demo delay. However, I might suggest that we give them a continuance till the first meeting in January.
Well, if we put a demo delay in,
That's the same thing.
they can always come back to us, you know, without, like the zoning, you gotta wait 2 years. You can come back to us at any time.
That's true. Okay.
Okay, Bob, can you proceed?
Were you looking at a one-year delay again?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Chatham Historical Commission also finds the proposed work to be done dated
Demolition.
October 3rd, 2023, will materially diminish the historic significance of the building. Therefore, the commission imposes a demolition delay in the amount of 365 days.
Second? Any other comments? Okay, roll call, Bob,
Yes?
Steve,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Steph,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. I'm sorry.
Sorry, thank you.
I hope you convey our feelings and ask them to please, well, take another look,
Take
if they
another
could.
Sure.
Could I make one more comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Why are the windows all different?
Well, okay, let's move on.
Yeah, I mean,
Moving
just, you know, that doesn't go with it either.
I'll convey your question.
I think he's got the message. All right,
Thank you.
your agenda had a mistake in it, actually. So the next application, we're going to switch things around here with the permission of Mr. Riley. We're going to do 23 Ivy Lane, which is
24.
it's on page 2,
24, Frank.
055.
24.
Excuse me, 24. Thank you very much. 23 is stuck in my mind forever. All right.
Okay.
This is a Form B on this very,
Lovely.
in some ways, historic property, and is a contributing structure in the National Register District, and originally was going to be heard some time ago, but was withdrawn, and it is property owner, the Ivy Cottage Realty Trust. That's a pretty name. I don't know what else to say, except if you read the multiple pages of the Form B, there's a lot of history and a lot of narrative relative to the property and what, you know, what's happened at this property. And I think fortunately, from those of us who attended the site visit, it looks like the current owners are taking very good care of this very historic property. Mr. Zebrat?
Yes, the Ivy Cottage is really a beautiful example of a little cape. Not many people get to see it because it's nestled back on Ivy Lane, not really a public way that people can go down and see it. The owners are really interested in preserving the cottage, taking care of the cottage. Previous owners have done that. These are new owners. What we'd like to do is introduce some additional windows into the building. There's a back stairway running up the north side of the building, which is very dark, treacherous, and steep, as in any of these old Cape Cod houses. As our site meeting yesterday, we walked around the building. I pointed out where the different windows are going. On the east side, we are adding a window to the right of the current door that goes into the kitchen. And that will be right at the base of the existing stairs to light up the stairwell and to add more light to the kitchen. On the north elevation, we are adding a window about a third of the way up, and that's also in the stairwell to add more light to that back stairway. On the north elevation on the main house, right off the deck, we are going to relocate one of the windows, move it further to the east, and then add a pass door to the patio. As far as the roof goes, when you look up on the roof on the west side, there currently is a skylight. That skylight goes to a small closet area up on the second floor. The owners wish to institute a dormer at where that skylight was. And as you can see from the historical photos that I had submitted with the plans.
Yes.
It shows a tiny little dormer up in there. We plan to put that dormer back a little bit longer. The reason for that is to get a small bathroom up onto the second floor. Also to provide a means of egress from the second floor. All the windows currently on the second floor do not meet egress requirement. They don't meet the 20 by 24 inch opening requirement. That little window in the bathroom will meet that. Also in that house, as any of these old capes, the front stair is a good morning staircase, very steep. It's like going up a step ladder, then taking a left and a right. It's scary. And the back stair is also the same. So they want to get a means of egress that is safe out of that second floor. But primarily the purpose is to get a bathroom up there. That's pretty much what we'd like to do. I don't think it's a serious impact to the building. We're very aware of the historical significance of this building, and the owner is very aware and like to keep it that way.
Thank you very much. Nice, very nice presentation. As always, we appreciate your, the detail of your application. I would say these historic drawings are quite interesting.
I think they're pretty fascinating. The owner
Especially when
provided
you
those to
look at
me.
the fact that there were no hedges, you know.
Well, that's the one thing he talks about, how, the houses around it loom over him now.
Thank you. Annie.
At one time, that cottage was like out in an open field, and there was a barn. The barn is still there. The house next door attached to it, and
Yeah,
kind of crowded everything in a bit.
yeah. I mean, it's like with a shoe on, but it is interesting looking at, and, we're lucky. Chatham's lucky when we do have these rare historic properties, and even luckier when we have people like your clients who are willing to make an investment to make it last another 100, 200 years. So thank you very much. Okay. Any members of the board want to say anything? Any comments? If not, any members of the public? Robert, you're out there in Never Never Land. You got any comments?
No comments at the moment.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing none, I think a motion relative to reaffirming the historical significance of this property would be in motion. If not, Bob?
Start with that. Move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that I move the Chatham Historical Commission find that the building located at 24 Ivy Lane is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more, and it is a contributing structure in the Old Village National Register Historic District, and it is associated with one or more historic persons or events in the history of the town, and it possesses architectural significance in terms of period, style, and method of construction.
Second.
Second by Janet, very good. Any other comments? Roll call, Bob,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Steph,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. I just note for the public, normally a property which is in the National Register District, which this is, in addition to Chapter 158, we would have heard it under the referral to the Cape Cod Commission Act. We're not doing that because the applicant's application is less than 25%, just for public information. Even though a home is in the National Register District, if the changes cumulatively are less than 25% of the gross floor area, our referral to the Cape Cod Commission is not something that we have any jurisdiction. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We have to vote on what they want to do now.
Say again?
We have to vote on what they want to do now.
Oh, sorry. I
Another
apologize.
motion, Frank.
Go ahead.
The Chatham Historical Commission also finds the proposed work to be done dated, I believe, October 20th, 2023, will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose demolition delay.
I'll second.
Thank you very much, Steph. Okay, any other comments? Bob,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Steph,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for accommodating me, and I thank Bill Riley's office also. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Moving right along, doing well, guys. Whoops, sorry. The next application will be 23051, 90 Seaview Street. Okay, we have a Form B on this property. This property was before us in 1995, when an addition was approved. It's not in the district, but it is on the national, it is a Form B on the property. Okay, just quickly, if you could bear with me. Too much paper. Do we have the Form B? Is it in that, in the application? I just misplaced it. Yeah, I wouldn't just pass it over. Take a quick look. Oh, yes. Okay, just was looking for the year. I know it goes back, originally 1910. 1810. so
1810.
We got a few next 100 years on
1800.
you.
It's very old.
right around your birthday, right, Frank?
1800.
That was your birthday?
Yours.
I believe that. Okay, so obviously, we've already determined the property once before is historically significant, but what is it you'd like to do?
Well, good morning. Bill Riley on behalf of the Fox family. They retain the services of Karen Kempton to help them modify the house to make it more livable for them. Jim Fox is 6 feet, 4 inches tall. And this is going to surprise you, but the upstairs where the shower is has a ceiling height of 5 feet. So they went to Karen to make some design changes in keeping with the style of the structure to make it more livable for them. So here's Karen to explain the changes she proposed.
Morning, Karen Kempton, architect for Jim and Gail Fox. As Bill mentioned, the main concern with the existing house, which has historically been an issue for growing families in the past, is the lack of headroom on the second floor. So we proposed to add a traditional shed dormer to alleviate the headroom issues on both the second floor bedrooms and bath. The second floor bedroom on the left side is a room that is 10 by 11, but only has 4 feet 10 inches of headroom over 7 feet. The bathroom as well has only 3 feet 8 inches of full headroom in a room that is 8 by 9. This only allows for headroom over the toilet and a small sink, and there is no headroom over the tub for a code-compliant shower. So by proposing a modest front dormer that is stepped in 7 feet from both gable ends and 1 foot back from the front wall, both second-floor bedrooms will now have code-compliant headroom and code-compliant headroom over plumbing fixtures in the bathroom. The existing rafters will remain, and the new shed roof will be built over the existing rafters, so only a portion of the rafters will be cut and headed off for the new shed dormer. The existing ceiling joists and floor joists will remain. The existing chimney on the second floor is only 30 inches from the top of the stairs, so when you come up the top of the stairs, the chimney is right in front of you. It is a dangerous location, so we are proposing to remove the chimney and provide a faux chimney in the same location. There are other changes to the front left, there are no changes to the front, left, and right elevations. All windows which were recently updated will remain. The rear L, which was built in, I think Frankie said 1990, something like that, will be extended by 16 feet towards the garage. The existing first floor, second floor deck, that's that connector piece between the garage and the front house, will be removed. Although not visible from sea view, we think this is an attractive and appropriate addition to the house. Small dormers will be added to the rear of the house that are stepped in, again, 1 foot from both gable ends, to also extend the headroom on the second floor, which again would have been historically added for a growing family on a full cape. The house, circa 1810, was moved to its present location in 1839. It is set back from the road 46 feet from Seaview, which is more than the adjacent houses of similar age along Seaview. The house also sits too low to the existing lawn, with the bottom of the floor joists at grade and are not protected from water damage. So we propose to lift the house and replace the existing foundation at a new higher elevation to protect the floor joists and sills. While undertaking this work, we propose to move the house closer to the street, which complements the existing homes along Seaview. The house on the, as you're looking at the house on the right, it'll be at the same distance from the street as that particular house. So
Could
it
you
won't be.
change the drawing, is that the drawing you're talking to?
Well,
The
that's
site plan?
That's the existing building
Yeah.
showing
Could you-
the areas.
Because you're moving well, you should record that very well, you're doing it very good. But, you know, the drawings that you're presenting are not keeping in line with what you're saying, so,
Well, these are the
Well,
proposed.
yeah.
we don't control it.
I know you don't. Yes, you
Okay.
do. Just ask her to change it. Because it's just a little bit of confusion, I'm sorry. I mean, you're on a roll.
Okay.
I just want to make the public, if there may be 2 people out there watching, you know, to find out what you're saying and how
So
you're
just to
related to it.
confirm, on that bottom right elevation,
Yeah,
there's a 16-foot addition that is just extending the rear L of the house. Same roof line, same wall heights, same pitch, same dormers. We're just extending it 16 feet. And that was the addition that was done in the,
so nothing's going to change in the front,
except the addition of that shed dormer.
right? Yeah,
Right.
the shed dormer, yeah.
Could I just, Frank, can I just clarify what we're talking about, the drawings? We've got 3 sets of drawings.
Yeah,
This is the
That one
proposed.
doesn't even seem to match one of the 3 I've got, so I'm a little confused.
it's,
I'm sure it should, but
These are the proposed plans. If you want to go back to the ones that are the existing house with the highlighted areas.
well, your plans here, this is what you're demolishing.
Right.
That's demolished, so that's pretty clear. Okay. Right here, we have the existing. These pencil drawings are existing?
No, that's what's proposed.
Yeah, but it says existing on the drawing.
Part because it says existing on a portion of the house that's remaining.
All right, so what you want us
See
to
how
look
it
at,
says on the front
what you want us to
elevation?
look at is this drawing, proposed.
Those are the, yeah, that's the existing showing what we're removing.
All right? And the proposed drawing is what?
This is the proposed drawing, which
What is the
shows
number of the drawing? The A1?
A1.
well, it doesn't help, they're all
Both
A1.
A1.
2 A1s.
Everything's A1.
The ones
I'm just
that,
trying to make our drawings we have is submitted versus what you're showing to be consistent.
so what you're looking at now on the screen is what is proposed. Showing the front dormer.
All right, but
And
I'm
it's
trying
a-
to, I'm trying to relate what's on the screen to what I have in front of me.
This is on the screen.
Perhaps Christina can help you.
Okay.
Well, some dates and a better evidence that they're proposed would be helpful, too. So back to what Frank said, the pencil drawings are now what is proposed,
Correct.
so the garage is disappearing.
No, the garage is still there. We're not doing anything to the garage. These are just what we're doing to the main front house.
Okay,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's confused.
Not clear.
so they're
So
not the
this is the
pencil drawings.
existing front house that's 34 feet
Karen?
across the front.
You're not touching.
Did you come in?
This is coming up.
I understand that, but it's still not giving us the whole picture if they're not touching the garage.
Is this the proposed?
This is the proposed.
Okay.
the new shed dormer.
No shed dormer.
This is the addition off the back. This
The drawings are confusing.
in the garage?
See A1, A1, and
It's not detached, is it?
It is detached.
Okay, it's just, it's attached by the,
deck.
that's the confusion.
Oh, yeah, we're getting rid of that.
Okay, well, that's the confusion, like, and what you need to say, it's two different structures. Because we were viewing it like, oh my God, they're connecting it.
No, we're getting rid of
I,
it.
I hear you,
Okay.
that just, the other reason, so
Okay.
that's,
This, I think we're looking at the one that's dated August 21st, 2023.
yes, and can I, for the clarification that Ms. Kempton just gave me, the garage which is currently attached to the property by a structure, by.
Deck.
Is the structure or the walkway is being removed, and now the garage will be a standalone on the property.
Right, so this
So we're
is
just
being
talking
removed.
about the original historic structure and what you're doing to that.
Correct.
That was the confusion, because
Okay.
we were looking for the drawing to show the garage. Where's the garage? Well,
They said they were leaving.
okay.
Right.
Thank you very much. All right, so I apologize for the interruption, but now I
That's
want to make
okay.
sure, is everybody clear of what we're looking at now?
yeah.
All right, great. Continue, please. Thank you.
So we are adding this 16-foot section at the
Right.
rear of the L that was done in 1990. So again, it's not affecting any of the historic part of the building. These all existing windows are all remaining. As I mentioned, the existing foundation is low, and the sill and the floor joists of the first floor are basically in the lawn area at grade. So we will be lifting the house and putting a new foundation
Is that of
below
the
it.
original 1810 property?
No, it has already been replaced in 19.
Got it.
So the
Okay.
existing original foundation is already gone.
Got it.
But when they did it, they poured it too low.
Yes.
So it's
Okay.
lower than the street, and the water's running to the house.
Got it.
So while we're undertaking this work, we propose to move the house closer to the street so it complements the existing houses along Seaview. And what I was saying is the house to the right, it'll be the same distance back from the road. So as you're coming down Seaview, you'll actually see this house instead of being pushed back the 40 feet. So it'll also, by doing that, it'll also create more distance between the historic house and the two-car garage that will remain at the back of the property. So we hope that you agree that these changes to the existing full cape are appropriate and continue the historic language of the cape and protect its future by the continued use by the Fox family.
Thank you very much. I was half kidding, but I was half serious when I saying you should record the first part of your presentation, because you were checking things off, talking about the chimney, talking about the rafters and what you were going to save. That was good. Thank you
Thank you.
very much. All right. I'm sorry for the confusion. At least I was confused. So anybody have any questions? Yes.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I think it might have helped if someone was there yesterday to explain this to us and point this out to us, because we wouldn't have
We were
been,
there waiting.
yeah, we would have seen what was going on.
Well, I apologize, that was my fault.
It was what?
My fault.
It was your fault?
Yeah.
Sorry. And I apologize to that also, Bill, in the sense, and I've mentioned this to Janet, is that, we had like 7 or 8 places to be yesterday, and we went, it was like one row. And what we need to do, because in something like this, quite honestly, as Steph pointed out, it was confusing. We were trying to figure it out there, looking at it, looking at the drawings, and we weren't doing too well. But what we need to do, we often say we're gonna be there at 8:30. We need to say we're gonna be there from like 8, give it like a 10-minute window, because we know, you guys can't just sit around and wait for us to get there, and vice versa. But, it's
I apologize.
convenient for us.
I thought the plans were clear, so.
Well,
It was a little tricky.
that's true. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other comments from the members? Yes, Steve?
I'm sorry, thank you. I'm very much against the addition of the dormer in the front. this building in 1810 was a tavern and a store, according to the Form B. By making this change to the front, you're changing what was a tavern and store to a 21st century Cape house. I appreciate the fact that the headroom, and everybody wants more headroom, and the owner is tall and all that sort of thing. But I cannot support the present plan with that large dormer on the front of the house. It changes the roof line, or the roof appearance. What looks currently from the road is an old Cape style. You're changing it dramatically by adding that dormer, and I can't support it.
Well, Steve, if I could respond, I mean, it's been a residence since, I don't know, 1850 or 1839, whenever they moved it from what is now Training Field Road. I mean, so the type of change being made is standard for houses of this age. In other words, in 1830, if they were going to make a change, that's what they would have done. And that's why Karen designed it that way. And it doesn't look like a modern Cape at all, because today, they would take the dormer and bring it in 2 feet from the side and have 4 windows across the front. So it's really a very, very modest change. It's very much in keeping with the type of changes that these kind of structures went through back in the 1800s, let alone 2021, 2023, whatever year we're in, I can't remember anymore. But, so I think, I should just reconsider your position on that, that's all.
Okay?
Yes.
Any other comments?
I have another question, unfortunately, about the garage. Karen, how far away is the garage going to be from what you've added
I have
onto
it.
the house there?
I think there is a site plan, right?
Yeah, there is a site plan.
So where the new addition is going, it'll be another 8 feet further back from where the existing addition is,
Okay.
further away. And there will be total separation. There won't be that deck connecting the two of them. So it'll be a separate staircase to the room over the garage.
Okay, I now see that. So that-
Exterior,
Exterior staircase to the room over the
Uh-huh.
garage. Not, so right now, the second floor of the main house can walk across the deck and get to the second floor over the garage. That won't happen now.
So it'll just be just a regular roof on that side of the garage?
We're not changing the roof line, we're just adding an outside
But
staircase.
just disconnecting the,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
okay. Any other comments? I unfortunately, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. I agree with Mr. Riley, Steve, you know, that it's not an uncommon change that might have occurred, you know, 50 years later or so, and, you know, so. But I think, and if, to be honest with you, if this was a standalone, you know, little house, I might feel that way, but being it's already, unfortunately, you know, got this significant addition, I think it's inconsistent, but anyway, all right. If there are no other comments from the members, Robert, you have any comments?
Yeah, I'm kind of new at this, but I'm looking at the windows. Can you just tell us about where the windows were as an older structure and what they're going to look like as a newer structure?
I don't think they're changing. Oh, I missed that one.
We're
Very
not
good,
changing-
Robert.
The windows, is that what you're asking? We're not changing them. Whatever they are is what they are.
Yeah, apparently the windows were changed years ago.
The picture shows 1/1 versus 6/1. I think that's different.
Where's 1/1?
Oh, yeah. Well, again, this is the proposed, Don.
Where's 1/1?
this pencil drawing is the proposed, and it shows 6/1, right?
And this shows 1/1.
Oh, okay. Karen, you see what he's saying?
What are you looking at?
Hold it up so she can see it.
These? I believe the grills are there, I don't know why they're not there. We're not changing, whatever's there is what's
Okay.
there.
The way to look at this is, when I sign the drawing, this is the drawing, now that we know which one it is. The pencil drawing is what you're proposing to do. And that's 6/1.
Grills now there. No grills here. Because there are no grills there and these windows were done in 1990, would you be okay if we did add grills to the windows? Or do you want them to stay 1/1?
Don, I guess what we're saying, you really prefer them to see 6/1.
I believe the photographs show 6/1.
The existing, now, they took the grills out.
Right.
We would like to put them back in.
Okay. You right that, Don?
That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Say again?
What about Bob?
Bob, you got that?
Robert.
Robert, sorry.
Yes, thank you.
All right, good. Good catch. I'm glad somebody's looking at it. All right. Any other comments, questions? Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Hand raised online. Some member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Do you know who it is?
Ellen Briggs.
Ms. Briggs? Ellen Briggs? EB, that's you.
Sorry, I had my mic off. That was my question about the windows, so you've cleared that up. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. If no other member of the public wishes to speak, we'll close the hearing and we will then proceed. I believe we have a situation where we once again determine the historical significance of this property. And I believe the changes probably are consistent, but Bob, do you make a motion so we could see what the rest of the commission feels formally?
Just clarify, did we find this historically significant before?
Yeah, we wouldn't dispute the fact that it's historically significant.
No, we're just trying to make sure what the motion is
I
to
can
reaffirm
either
or
make a
affirm.
motion, do we reaffirm our finding or make a whole new finding?
I think the application was previously withdrawn, so we never did vote on it.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Just a different motion, Bob.
I had asked Michelle a year ago or 2 years ago about when the addition was done, if there was any sort of notes, and there was nothing in the file, so.
Fine, we're okay.
All right, I got it. I move that Chatham Historical Commission find that the building located at 90 Seaview Street is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more and is associated with historical persons or events of the town's history, and it has architectural value in terms of its period and style.
I'll second.
Any other comments? Roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. All right, we need a second motion?
All right. Chatham Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated August 21st, 2023, will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay. And I guess that's with the understanding about clearing up the windows, consistent with what we agreed to here that Frank's going to sign. So,
Second.
Okay. Any other comments? Roll call. Mr. Lear?
yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes, but I have to
Stephanie?
say that, excuse me?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry,
called Sandy, I know, that was,
I went out of order. Janet? That was yes.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate the
much.
presentation.
Thank you.
And one quick question, the chimney you mentioned, we're rebuilding it pretty much in the same spot?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
They're just
that's
gonna move
interesting.
it a little bit.
And hopefully it'll be the same look, I assume, than what you
That's
got
the
there.
goal.
By the way, just quickly, I know you're leaving, but we're going to be having a 2024 Preservation Awards presentation. So I know you got a letter, but if you have any
I have to remember
thoughts?
what I did.
That's the biggest problem.
Yes.
No, we have that. Yeah, well, anyway, we do have a few applications, but we're always looking for more, and I appreciate your work. Thank you very much. Okay, the next application, we're doing pretty good, guys, is 23052, 75 Hallway Street. Mr. Riley, I think, is presenting. Also, this is a property which has been before us many times. And there is a Form B on the property. It is a contributing structure in the National Register District. And it was reviewed under the Cape Cod Commission Act. We found it historically significant, no delay. So there have been reviews by the commission, and fortunately, no referrals to the Cape Cod Commission. Just a quick aside, what we're doing, Mr. Riley, for your information, is that because of the time delay sometime when we have a National Register property contributing structure in the National Register District, we often get to a point where it says, well, let's ask Sarah, let's ask the Cape Cod Commission.
I saw Sarah's letter.
And pro forma wise, what we're doing, Christina's doing, is we're just, using the good offices of the Cape Cod Commission and have her view. And the members of the.
I think that's a good policy.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you, Christina. The members of the board, you have Sarah Korjev's comments, which we should consider, but we'll get to that. First, I guess, the issue of historical significance, and I'm sure you don't have any issue relative to the historical significance of the property?
Well, no, but I'd just introduce myself, Bill Riley, on behalf of the Barsamian family.
Thank you.
This is a project that was previously been approved by both the Zoning Board of Appeals and this board. The Barsamians, through COVID and things, didn't get to do the project. They're now ready to do it. And but when we checked with Christina, she informed us that we'd let the time lapse. And so that's why we refiled this application.
Did I misunderstand you? You've already been through the zoning board with this change?
Oh, yeah, years ago.
Oh, I see. So this particular change, gotcha. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, and we just,
So you didn't make
and-
any change to the change?
we have made no changes to the change.
Okay, fine. We had a feeling we were looking at the same thing, but we're not sure, okay?
No, yeah,
Until we
well,
get here,
believe me,
we're
you're
never sure.
So.
All right,
you know,
I understand the
so
situation.
What we're adding, just for, basically, they're adding a deck on the south side to join the deck on the east side. That requires some support from down below. So there's a small addition where the yellow is on this right elevation to support the deck above. Then then you've got the deck with actually see-through glass, so you can still see it. And so that's the only change. No change to the change.
Okay. As I said, this property, 1930, it wasn't, not 1830, but 1930. And it is interesting when you look at the Form B of what this house looked like in 1930 as a summer residence on the corner overlooking the ocean. So things have changed.
I tell you, it looked the same before the erosion got to it.
It looked same to what?
Until the erosion got to it.
Right, yeah. Well, luckily, it didn't fall into the sea with some of the other properties nearby.
Well, a substantial portion was removed.
Yeah. So just quickly, we do have, I don't want to read all of Sarah Korjev's, it's part of the record, but pretty much from the Cape Cod Commission's point of view, she doesn't feel the changes change the massing of the original historic structure, but it allows expansion to level below, et cetera, et cetera. And while the existing building structure can sustain more alteration without losing while the existing building cannot sustain much more alteration without losing its integrity, I do not believe the proposed addition constitutes a substantial alteration to this National Register building. And for members of the commission and the public, that's the criteria we use whether or not we can refer it or should refer it to the Cape Cod Commission. You know, does the change constitute a substantial alteration to the National Register building? And I guess we have Sarah's comments. Notwithstanding her comments, you know, we also have to vote and concur with or disagree with. So having said that, I guess we need a motion relative to reaffirming the historical significance of the property. Bob?
I move that the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building located at 75 Hallway Street remains historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more, is a contributing structure in the National Register Historic District, and possessed anyway, architectural value or significance in terms of the style.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, second motion we need relative,
Chatham Historical Commission also finds the proposed work to be done dated long ago.
January 19th, 2019. January 7th.
you got the date, Christina?
Yep, got it, January 7th, 2019. Will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Okay, any
Second.
other comments? Yes.
Is my understanding that they're adding 55 square feet to the lower level to expand?
Yeah, oh, yeah, yes.
Is that's
I don't
correct?
know, I didn't bring the site plan with me, but yeah.
This house has been added to a number of times since it was a little shack in the old village, so I can't support this.
Well, you're quite right in that, Don, in the sense that, you know, when did we let the horse out of the barn? And that to me is, you know, there's no question, this is more than 25%, you know, and, you know, it should be almost an automatic referral to the Cape Cod Commission.
Right.
And you know, I go back and forth in my own mind when I look at it. I mean, and I think I'm glad that, you know, I guess you look at it from Sarah's comments, you know, have we reached the point? In your view, we've reached the point, you know?
It keeps growing and growing and growing, and when is it going to stop? And I just can't support more growth.
You feel we have reached the point that we should have, in some ways, I remember, you know, 5, 6 years ago, we probably should have never let that one happen.
Exactly,
You
but
know, and I'm not sure what the heck we were thinking about when we did, but it got us in a good mood at the time. I don't know. I got mixed views, this particular property, and I think I was commenting it out when I picked up the copy of the 4B and looked at it originally. You know, where is it? You know, what happened to it? Yes?
I think it's already lost its integrity. I think it did that a while ago.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I would agree. I mean, we've referred it to Sarah, and she says, while the existing building cannot sustain much more alteration without losing the integrity, I do not believe the proposed addition constitutes a substantial alteration to this National Register building. So we've already asked an authority on the subject. I don't know.
Well, and
Why not?
you previously approved this
Yeah.
project.
And we approved it a few years ago.
All right.
It was my first one on the commission.
So you remember.
So it's,
I remember.
so it's your fault, okay. All right, any other members have any other comments? Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? not, Mr. Lear?
Historical Commission also finds the proposed work to be done dated, what did we say? January 7th, 2019, will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building and does not impose a demolition delay.
I'll second.
Second, any other comments? Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
No.
Steph?
Yes.
Sandy?
No.
What was that?
No.
No? Janet?
Yes.
Yes, and the chair votes yes. Okay, we have to do the chapter referral, right?
I move that the Chatham Historical Commission confirms that the dwelling located at 75 Holloway Street is a contributing structure in the National Historic Register District.
I'll second.
Any other comments? All right, roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes?
Stephanie?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Freddie, one last vote, whether or not we refer it to the to the Cape Cod Commission.
I move that Chatham Historical Commission finds the materials presented this date showing that proposed alterations do not constitute a substantial alteration to a contributing structure located in the National Historic Register District, and therefore a referral to the Cape Cod Commission for review is not necessary.
Second.
Thank you, second. Any other comments? Okay, roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
No.
Steph?
Yes.
Sandy?
No.
Sandy, no. Janet?
Yes.
Yes. Can the chair vote yes? So I guess we're okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do me a favor, do I have this electronically? Yes. I do? Okay, fine. I just want to comment. Okay. Approaching the witching hour. 46 Homestead Lane, 23053. Mr. Litchfield? Excuse me, did anybody feel like they need to take a 5-minute or a 2-minute stand-up, rest, break?
Nope.
Let's get going.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Mr.
No, I'll be 2 minutes and then you can take a break.
Okay, let's proceed. This is,
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Bill Litchfield here on behalf of the applicants, Joseph and Maria Nicholson, who owned this home down on Homestead Lane for the past 20-odd years. They would like to make a small addition on the rear. When their builder went in, determined that the part to which the addition was proposed to be added was not in terribly good shape. So we are proposing a small demolition in the rear, very much in the rear, as those of you who were out there yesterday saw, to make square a portion of the existing structure and to make an addition of something like 75 square feet, a little bit larger than that on the east side. The house itself is not a colonial revival, I guess we call it a Cape revival, to which there have been additions over the years. This, however, this particular part is reasonably certain not original to the house, and I don't think that the proposed partial demolition and addition would have any impact on the historical significance of the house, if in fact you find it to be historically significant. And that was less than 2 minutes, Mr. Chairman.
very good. All right, moving right along. Do we have any other comments or questions relative to the historical significance of the property? I think we have an agreement here. Mr. Lear, are you comfortable with a motion?
Not yet.
I didn't think so. I'll pause a little bit while he finds the right one.
I'm just wondering what the group, the consensus might be as to whether this building is has historical significance and in terms of meeting the criteria.
I feel it does. I'm not sure how the rest of the commission feels. That's my motion.
I don't believe it does.
Okay?
I think so.
Got 2 noes?
I don't think so. I think it's just
No?
another
Don?
house, yeah.
That's Italian, okay.
I actually think it does have historical
All right,
significance,
so
that
I
whole
I would
area.
say at this point, we're mixed. We'll do the nose count. Go ahead, Bob.
All right, I move that Chatham Historical Commission find that the structure located at 46 Homestead Lane is historically significant because it's in whole or in part 75 years old or more, and it's associated with the town's political history, and I guess is generic period and style.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Aikman. Bob?
Yes?
Steve?
No.
Don?
Yes.
Stephanie?
No,
Sandy?
yes,
Janet?
No,
And the chair votes yes. So we've got an historically significant property. That does not say we have to do or not do anything. In terms of how we feel about it, with the change,
okay.
it is by 1 year.
the question is whether or not we feel that what's being done, is diminishing the historical integrity of the property. Yes, Janet? go ahead.
I don't think it's going to diminish the historical integrity of the property because we had to, we could barely find where this was going to go as we dug through the bushes to get to it. And it's not going to be visible from the front streetscape. It's going to be, you're going to have to really scrutinize from the side. I don't think so.
Yeah, Don?
I would agree with Janet.
Well, I don't disagree with you, Janet, in terms of the streetscape, but that doesn't matter. Bushes
And-
come and bushes
But
go.
the back end isn't historic. It was added in, who knows?
I know. Then the question is the entire property historically significant?
I don't think so.
And if we think it does, if majority of the commission
Majority too.
thinks it is, that doesn't mean that the change that you're making destroys the historical integrity of the property. And I would agree with you.
Yeah.
That the change really does not destroy the integrity of the
That's what I'm
property.
saying, Frank. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words,
We're agreed.
Yeah.
Agreeing.
we're agreed that we
Kind of.
agree. Okay, good. So, but I still would like to go on record, the property is historically significant, and whether or not we impose a demolition delay. Ms. Delia?
No.
Chatham Historical Commission also finds.
On,
That's why I have an assistant here. Chatham Historical Commission also finds the proposed work to be done dated September 27th, 2023 will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Second.
Second? Okay. Bob?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Stephanie?
yes,
Sandy?
yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Two-step process, guys. Let's not confuse them in my mind.
Well-
Anyway, because my mind gets confused. 108 Plum Beach Road. Is this another deja vu project?
No,
No, it's a new one.
it's a new
Okay.
one, yes.
Oh,
No, getting out was the problem. Kept hitting the wood.
this property owes me a taillight. I made the wrong turn, and I went, and I had to back up, and I thought I was going into a bush.
I thought I was going to do that.
You thought you were going to do that, too?
Absolutely.
I think the commission knows me a bush.
This is a piece of property in a wonderful part of Chatham, South Chatham. And it is not, there is no Form B on the property, which is probably shame on us. And it is not in the National Register District, and it was a no on the survey. I think it's a very quaint little property, but at this particular point, why don't we ask the applicant to give us a little bit of background information, what we're going to do.
Sure. Good morning. Jamie Norcross representing Paul Detweiler. This is Paul to my left. The architect for the project is Greg Delory to my right. As you indicate, it's a pretty unique property that's hidden down there on Taylor's Pond Road that I don't think many people know exists until you actually have to drive down there. So, and that's part of the reason I think Paul really fell in love with it in terms of its privacy and the view on Taylor's Pond is really beautiful down there. Paul bought it a couple years ago. There's two structures on the property. Initially, Paul looked at renovating because both are in need of a lot of work. For a number of reasons, not the least of which is the front structure, we'll call the main house, is located within the floodplain and would require lifting it up 4 feet. Paul determined with the help of his engineer that the feasibility of trying to maintain existing structures really was not there, and so he pivoted to working with Greg on a design for a demo rebuild. And the goal is to build 2 structures, new structures, modest in size, essentially the same footprint as what currently exists on the property. They will be a little bit higher than what's there now and a little bit more floor area on the second story for both structures. The existing structure, and Greg's going to go through this in a moment, the main dwelling, there's a lot of, the file on that, the building department indicates there were a number of additions done to the main structure in the 1970s and 1980s, and Greg can point those out to you. So we think what was the original has been modified quite a bit over the years by this point in time. And the assessors both list both structures as 1930s era. So with that, I turn it over to Greg. And if we could pull up the photos of the existing, I think that'll help explain some of the changes that Greg's going to talk about. Thank you.
Yes. Can you turn them?
Everybody want to turn their head?
1 second.
Okay, so,
He's gonna work some magic.
okay, that'd be great.
Maybe not.
Okay, we can turn our heads.
Okay, so on the south elevation, the original structure has the little bay window in front. Oh,
Let's get.
there we go.
All right.
Oh, thank you. South elevation, the original structure has a little bay window in front. A newer addition is off to the left of that. And on the north elevation, you can see part of the existing structure between the two roof lines. There's a little ridge line. That's the existing 1930s building. Beyond that is another addition, which is facing the west. You can see that on the south elevation is to the left on the south elevation. So what we're looking at is a little fisherman shack that now has 2/3 of it is more recent. The 1977 they put the bay window on, and 1979 they put what you see on the north elevation behind that birdhouse is the 1979 addition. I think it's 16 by 16. And then in 1985, they put on the west addition, which again, I'll refer to the left part on the south elevation, and also on the north elevation to the right, the larger roof. So in my way of thinking, there's not much left to really isolate and say that little portion is worth considering as a historic structure because it's being overpowered by 2 newer additions. So moving forward, the existing 1930s house, which is being considered as a historic structure, has just no foundation. It's part of it sitting on the dirt. It is about a 15-degree pitch to the floor, and it just wouldn't handle being lifted. So we decided to take them down and put a new Cape Cod style, the language of Cape Cod houses, on the same footprint on both structures. And that's where we are now. So I can entertain any questions.
You want her to put up a different drawing.
Yeah, why don't you go through, just for the public, what you're proposing?
Okay. Well, it's the entire building, plus decks. There are existing decks now. We're adding a net 96 square feet of deck to what's there now with the new plan. Major difference is how tall it is off the grade, because that's required by the floodplain, the regulations. So there'll be stairways basically where they are now, but not on grade as they are now. There'll be stairways protruding and to get to the new deck.
So, Greg, just to clarify, the bottom photo is the elevation as seen from Taylor's Pond.
Correct.
Yeah, that was a good question. Which is the elevation that's facing Taylor's Pond?
The bottom.
This one here.
Okay.
And the the elevation above is what you see from the driveway as you pull in.
Yeah, right, but we don't have a streetscape, we have a seascape. Which technically, we still can say something, but we don't. I mean, we're not, so that's why I was just asking, what
Right.
is Taylor's Pond looking at,
That's the south elevation,
Yeah.
facing south.
Are you planning any, I know when I'm in Taylor's Pond occasionally, kayaking and stuff like that, when you look up, that's a big piece of property, and that was interesting, I didn't realize that it was a cranberry bog that you now own over on the other side, and I don't think you're gonna be farming cranberries, but is that pretty much property gonna stay the same? You mentioned something about invasives yesterday. I'm getting off key a little bit
No,
here, but if I don't mind asking.
That's, I'm going to meet with Blue Flex Design after this meeting. As part of the Conservation Commission, there'll be mitigation measures that they'll want. So the one that Blue Flex has proposed to me would be, as we talked about yesterday, there's all these rose bushes in here and invasives. And then there's a grass lawn here.
Paul, we can have them, do you want to pull up the site plan?
Yeah, I was gonna,
Okay,
make it easier.
sorry. No,
That's
yeah,
okay.
it's okay,
just-
no, that's all right. You trust me, you've given us a good package, I just wanted to make the public understand what we're doing.
So, what she's going to propose to me is we're going to take out the invasives here, and there's some here too, and including rose bushes, and the lawn, which is here, and we're going to put native species there. On the cranberry bog, it's, especially this edge, is, there's a large knot of bittersweet in there, which you all know better than I do what that does. And so I think we're going to propose that we deal with some of the invasives here, at least on the edge here. I don't know how deep we'll go
Yeah,
into the bog.
right.
But the bog obviously can't do anything. It's wetlands, can't do anything in there, but it would be removal of invasives.
So the impact, which is what I was getting to, from Taylor's Pond is gonna be not that significant, the house.
Yes, because I hope it will be better because it'll be native grasses and things as opposed to a fence and rose bushes and we're also going to probably offer up getting rid of this part of the driveway and putting native plants in there too.
Okay, all right, thank you very much, I appreciate you. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? Okay,
I just so I
There
got
we
it
go.
straight in my mind, Mr. Detweiler was nice enough to show me around yesterday. The part that we're looking with the bay window, that's essentially what the fisherman's cottage was, minus the bay window?
Could we go to the,
On the photo, you
Picture,
can
sorry,
see south elevation.
South elevation.
The bay window is on the existing 1930s fisherman's shack.
which I understand is this here,
Right, exactly,
but the bay was added in '77.
right.
Well, to get to a touchy subject, are you going to have a chimney or something on the new house?
Could we go back? We're not going to have a brick chimney.
So it looks like there's a stack sticking up.
There's a stack, but notice it's on the other side.
Right.
Paul, you just want to explain the issues with the current chimney as part of the,
Oh, I probably didn't tell, I told the other members of this. I've had two masons look at the chimney, and they stuck their head up there, and they both said the exact same thing.
whatever you do, never start a fire in here. There's no smoke shelf, there's no flue, it's too narrow. I asked them if it could be refurbished, and they said no, and it also tilts, so they said it'd have to come down. And the plans that Greg has done for me, this is the east side, so you can see, rather than have a chimney here, put some windows and a door in and have access to that deck and to the views to the east.
Makes sense, thank you.
Okay. Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Okay. So at this particular time, I guess we've kind of closed off, and the issue really was, do we consider the cottage historically significant or not, and whether or not, if we do, any demolition delay that we would like to impose. Getting a lot of no's. Don? Yeah. Steve? No.
I'm okay.
Sandy? Whether or not
What are we
historically
okay with?
significant- No.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Sorry, I was looking this way. You know, this particular way they have this laid out is terrible.
It is.
You hear that, town? Okay, all right.
All right,
Thank you.
I was just hearing a lot of no's, and I didn't know what.
Yeah, I guess the question is, the Chairman's, I thought, whether or not we consider the property to be historically significant, or any discussion on the property. And at this end of the table, we have mostly not historically significant.
That's fine, I just wanted to be clear.
Mr. Chairman, oh, sorry, go ahead.
1 second.
Sandy.
No, I was just going to say, I don't find it historically significant. It's an adorable cottage, but I'm glad I don't live there. Yes, yes.
I would have loved to have kept it, but it's, with the change in the floodplain, you see that it has to come up, and so.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, just wanted to clarify that the rear cottage is also part of the application as well. We didn't go over any
Understand.
design on that,
Yeah.
but just for your voting purposes.
The chair feels, quite unfortunately, you know, the issue of historical significance of cottage communities, and what we just did our survey with Mr. Eric Dre, and we resurveyed a lot of the town, and we looked into cottage communities. You know, Chatham up until this point has been worrying about, stuff from 1800s. But guess what? We've got a lot of beautiful homes in this town from the 30s and the 20s, and most of them are cottage communities, especially in South Chatham. This is one area of the town where we have not really done much looking, and but just, I would agree, in this case, it's not historically significant in itself. But what I'm talking about, as a commission at some point, we have to deal with, when we have groups of cottages, 10, 15, 20 cottages, how do we deal with it, so we don't let it turn into another River Bay or some other abortion. So, I just feel it's something we really seriously as a commission have to think about, the loss of our cottage communities in town. Individually, I would agree, no. So having said that, in that speech, Mr. Lear?
I move the Chatham Historical Commission find that the building located at 108 Beach Plum Road is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2AB.
Start destroying everything.
I'm sorry? Was that somebody?
Dog's breakfast, this.
Yeah.
Someone that doesn't know it's on.
I'm sorry, I can't hear, folks. What was that?
Robert Stevens, they're talking about the dog's dish.
Oh, Robert, yes? You wanted to speak to the historical significance issue?
I had no comment.
Okay. All right, was there somebody else has to say something?
No,
Nope.
he's just finishing.
Okay, I'll start over. I move the Chatham Historical Commission find that the building located at 108 Beach Plum Road is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose demolition delay.
I second.
Second the motion? Okay. Sorry, Steph, she beat you. Anyway, if no other comments, motion, roll call, Mr. Lear,
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame,
Yes.
Mr. Aikman?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
Ms. Tennyson?
Yes.
And Mr. Messina votes yes. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Happy fishing in Taylor's Pond.
And it's,
Looking forward to it.
you're closing today? You're closing the cottage today?
I closed it yesterday.
You closed it yesterday?
Turned the water off yesterday.
Yeah, if you want another hour, I can tell you what the water situation is.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, ladies, we're doing very well here, I think.
Yeah.
All right,
You need a break?
do we need a break? Sergeant?
I'm good.
Does anybody feel they need
No, I
a
don't.
break?
Let's keep
Be
going.
shy, yes? 5 minutes? Yeah, 5 minutes. All right, control room, we'd like to take a 5-minute break. Thank you very much. Please. 5 minutes, guys. That means you're going to be here at 12:15, no later.
Granola bar.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are now continuing the
Oh, dear. Who let their
November
copies-
21st meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. We have one last hearing on our agenda, which we need to get through. This is 23057, 75 Main Street. This application has been before us and had been approved, but there were some issues and problems during the construction, and the applicant has come back to us with an explanation of the changes, and so we felt it was probably better to have another application to formally acknowledge and to vote on those changes. Mr. Ford, would you introduce yourself formally?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Mike Ford, attorney for the applicant, together with Aaron Polhemus, CEO and owner of PSD. You're correct. This application has its genesis in actually a stop work order by the building commissioner, having made a finding that demolition was taking place in parts of the property that the building commissioner found were not approved under the prior approval by this commission. And so the applicant did two things. One, prepared a plan which it submitted to the building commissioner to allow the stop work order to be lifted, in which we separated the two areas of the building that were at issue with respect to unauthorized work, and then submitted a protocol to the building commissioner as to how those would be separated off, and the building commissioner made a decision to allow the rest of the project to go forward. I'm sure the commission, your commission, Mr. Chairman, was kept advised of that, and copies of that protocol were also submitted to your commission, so that you could see that those areas would be segregated. In addition to that, before he lifted the stop work order, we also submitted, at the commission's request, the applications that are before you. I say applications because there are two separate issues that we were asked to apply for. One was to request demolition of the porch. It was really an after-the-fact request for demolition of the porch, because the porch was found when the building was lifted up and they started to take things apart. It was discovered that the structural members of the porch had significantly decayed and were no longer able to sustain the structural load of the porch itself, and the porch was subsequently removed. It was at that point that certainly the applicant should have, and we acknowledge that, come back to the commission and advise you of that, so that you could have weighed in and said, yes, we see that, and it does appear to be rotten, and we understand the reason for removal, even in an area of the building that was not specifically authorized for demolition. And so in our narrative, Mr. Chairman, which is divided into two things, porch demolition and realignment of northwest corner, which I'll get to in a moment, we also submitted pictures. And the pictures show the areas of the porch that were rotted and decayed, structural members that caused the need for removal. Those of you who were at the on-site last week, we had those pictures while we actually walked around and took a look at the building, and they're coming up on your screen now. Maybe you go to that previous picture, it's a better picture of the structural member there, that when they uncovered that. So there was a communications gap, Mr. Chairman, and frankly, the burden is on the applicant to commence that communication, and that was the missing step here, and that caused this area of the job to be closed, and my apologies. At the Zoning Board of Appeals, if that happens, they have a policy that you've got to give $25 to a charity of their choice. I don't know if you have the same rule, Mr. Chairman, but Mr. Nixon.
$7.50.
Okay. Anyway, my apologies for that. So that's the first part of the application. I think at the on-site, it became clear with the pictures in hand what had occurred. And so I know not all of you could get to the on-site, but those that did, I think we were at least able to clearly articulate what happened for those members, so they now had an understanding of what it was. So that porch is 250 square feet. I mean, the good news is, Mr. Chairman, and maybe if I could approach, I just want to assure the committee, and I'll stop talking until I've
Thank you.
gone back up there.
This is something we just don't have yet?
This is something that I'm not sure you have. I think you do as part of the initial package when you filed, but I thought it'd be good to stick one of these in front of everybody.
Do you have it, Annie? Here, I have, okay.
I'll hand one to her.
No, I see if she had it electronically.
Yeah. You don't have to mow that.
So this was part of the original
Yes,
package?
and part of the original, and I just wanted to assure the members, and the porch we're dealing with on the first page of what I just passed out is on the right-hand side, and then I put the picture of the property before we started this work behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to assure you that the porch replacement that is being sought is an in-kind replacement of what is there. Nothing is proposed to change in any way.
But just for the members of the public hearing online, effectively, what the applicant is doing is presenting us a photograph of the property the way it is when we started the whole application process, and then a photo of the property after the work is done, basically indicating it'll be exactly the same, you know. But just for, there are some people out there, there is at least 2 or 3 people I know who are listening in, and I just wanted to make that, there we go.
Thank you,
She's
Mr.
great.
Chairman, for helping them understand that. I should have been more specific.
No, that's okay, so we're looking at now, this is what it will be.
That's
This is-
correct.
And what you're saying, you also showed a picture of what it is now.
Yeah.
When we started, and it'll be exactly the same.
Exactly.
Just for
I
clarification.
just thought for ease of presentation, but you're right.
That's okay.
That ease of presentation didn't necessarily help those who were online, so
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
your comments.
Okay.
So that's the first part of the application. The second part of the application is a realignment of the northwest corner and some demolition that needs to get done in order to do that. For those of you who came to the site, did you want to say something?
Exhibit 3.
Exhibit 3, okay. So this house was lifted up, and the new foundation, as per the prior approval, was installed, which will be faced with brick. And when the house was brought down, they realized that this particular side, this northwest corner, which is not part of the original house, but still part of the house that was registered as part of the National Register classification, was off on an angle from one end to the other about 5 or 6 inches.
Explain. Yeah, this end,
This is Mr. Polhemus.
yeah, Aaron Polhemus, PSD. So this end, as you can see, and for those of you who made it out to the site visit, we were able to explain this, and you could see it even more easily on site. But that end of the structure was essentially racked. So when it came back down, it isn't straight. The back wall isn't straight, and it doesn't line up with the foundation. So it is off about 6 inches from one end to the other end. This is also a newer portion of the structure. We had pointed that out on site. The sheathing is probably 50s, 60s, and the framing inside is.
Are you going to be able to use the same sheathing when you redo it?
Yes, our plan is to just cut loose that sheathing, reframe the wall, and then reinstall the sheathing.
Okay.
So that sheeting that you see there will be the sheeting that will be used.
Correct, will be reused on the straightened end of the structure.
Okay.
And so in describing that to the building commissioner, he indicated you should also seek permission for that as well from the commission, and we agreed. And so that's the second part of this application. That was not one that was part of the initial stop work order. Mr. Chairman, one other issue why we're on this, there was a discussion about what to do when you find something that is decayed or rotten, particularly structural in nature. And obviously, I think the lesson learned from this one is you got to get hold of the commission. And so in keeping with that, while we were there, I pointed out to several of the commission members that there's a front entryway, exterior entryway, that when the house was picked up, they found that was sitting kind of in the dirt, and there's considerable decay and rot in that. And so, Mr. Chairman, again,
Annie?
I have a handout having to do with that.
Thank you.
And I won't speak until I get back up there.
Very apparent.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, it sure is.
The observation by the committee members who were at the on-site were, well, that should be documented, and you should get a copy to us, and so we can get it in our file so that we can see it. And so this is an effort to do just that. So for those of you who are on Zoom, this was at the front of the exterior of the building. Again, when it was picked up, it was found that the structural members that, particularly at the lower portion of that, had considerable rot. And so this is simply pictures of that for the file, because we are requesting that that be allowed to be replaced in kind as a result of encountering these materials that are rotten, that were not available to us or not known to us at the time that we were here initially.
Annie, could you zoom into the front entrance? Keep going, and down to the bottom, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the area where it is, and particularly the lower half are these pictures that show the rot in that particular area.
Okay.
So there is a corner of the building also there, the front corner of the building, to the left of that entryway, and there's a picture of that as well. There's some sheathing there, and that's picture number 3 in what I just passed out, and that sheathing unfortunately had been sitting right down on the ground itself, and And I think the members who were out there observed that. You could see it just is kind of flapping, and it was entirely rotten. That one little section of sheathing will also be removed. And just to cover the record, we wanted to get that in your file, so there was no question about it.
Okay.
So that's what those two were. So that's our presentation, Mr. Chairman. We're happy to take questions.
All right, I just want to clarify for the members of the public, as well as members of the commission, you know, we're very lucky that we have people who want to work on homes built in 1796. And, you know, and I'm not making excuses for anybody here, but, you know, when an application comes before us, they usually don't take the house apart and then make an application. And this is just for the next chairman and the future chairman, is that, you know, when the work starts, you know, you all of a sudden you crack an egg and whoops, you know, something happens. And the process that we, the commission, myself, Don, who's been a former chairman, and the vice chair, you know, when something happens in the field, and I think Mr. Ford alluded to it, and sometimes we get a call. Sometimes we get a call from the building commissioner, sometimes we get a call from the applicant. We've got a problem, you know, and can you come down and take a look at it? And, you know, and something like, you know, the rot in the front of the stairs, you know, it's quite obvious, you know, that, oh, well, okay, that's fine. It doesn't need to come back to the commission because we're not changing anything. You know, we're putting it back, and we're gonna save as much historical material as we can. But sometimes it doesn't happen, and I think, unfortunately, with this situation, it was significant, okay? And there were, you know, and it wasn't clear what exactly happened or what didn't happen, and that's the rule that we're in, and that's why we're back here again. And you know, I just want to get my 2 cents in over the process, because, you know, we often get calls from applicants, it's like, we're working on the house and we've got a problem, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that not picking up the phone and say, we have a problem. And in some
Exactly.
cases, the commission, as chair or the vice chair, we could make a decision. And in other cases, you know, we call the building commissioner and say, wait a second, okay, and it gets out of hand. Yes, Don, go. And
Mr. Chairman, going back in ancient history, I've been on the commission for many, many, many years. We have, in the past, had whoopsies, or people have gone on beyond what was recommended or approved, and we have, in some cases, fined the applicant $300 a day. I don't know if that's still legal. We have required a rebuilding of pieces of homes that have been demolished that were not supposed to. I appreciate the fact that this was an oopsie, or should not have gone on until someone had looked at it. But I believe that there should be some kind of remediation or some kind of punishment, not punishment, but correction. And so I would propose that the rebuilding of the porch that was unfortunately demolished be done with historic wood, even if it needs to be sistered, historic sheathing, and I would hope that that would be part of our presentation here today. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, a couple of things. May I respond to that?
Sure.
So I hear where the member is coming from with respect to some implication as a result of the failure to communicate the way the commission wanted us to. I will tell you that the stop work order has done that. This job is one that's under a very tight time provision. All of the work was stopped for a period of time. All of those workers were off the job. You know, the owner was informed, and the schedules all had to be changed. And then additional effort went into coming up with a protocol that the building commissioner could then feel comfortable with, that those areas of concern would not be touched, and those plans were filed. And so we're now probably a month back on all of that. So I will tell you that while you may not see it from your perspective as a commission member or one who lives in the old village just down the hill, those changes in schedule, all caused by the stop work order, are significant. And there is a significant financial result to all of that. So I just throw that out, that there has been that has happened. This isn't as if, oh gee, and then we just kept going. We did not. And all the schedules changed as a result of that. Secondly, to the extent that when we were removing the back of the structure where that back dormer was coming off, in our protocol to the building commissioner to get the work going again, we agreed that any sheathing that was in there, we would take off and save. We wouldn't just demolish that. And I don't know, Mr. Polimas may be able to speak to that, as to how much of that was able to be saved as that work is ongoing. But it is that materials that we propose that we could reuse in areas where sheathing has to come off the house. So
Yeah, I can speak to that.
maybe you could speak to that, because I think that's where this committee member is coming from.
Yes, no, I can certainly speak to that, and we have committed to, and we will be removing and saving the sheathing material that will come off that rear dormer, which was approved to be removed, and using that material to fill in areas that we need more materials. So essentially, reusing the historic material that is in decent shape. There is not a whole lot of it, I will say, and I think for those of you that were out there, you saw much of this structure was severely rotted. And there was very little, especially around the base, that was in good shape. But we're absolutely committed to reusing those materials that are in good shape around the structure.
Including that porch area.
Yeah, including the porch area, wherever we can.
And certainly you could make that part of your decision. So
we'll-
there's an effort underway to try to
We will reuse
responsive
that
to
material wherever possible. That's.
I'm sorry, Don, go ahead. I was going to say something, but you had.
My only point is that historically, we have set a precedent, and I don't know if we're going to change that precedent now.
Well, I don't know what precedent we're stating, Don, in terms of no fine.
Precedent of, there has to be some reason for future builders, future contractors, not to have this happen again.
Okay.
We thought that was understood from previous issues, but apparently it still happens.
If I may, just.
Well, let me
If I
just,
may, Mr.
hold on, before you go. Don, I don't disagree with you, and it's a problem, it's an issue on how we deal with it. And I often use the example, when I first came on, joined you 20 years ago, whatever the heck it was, we had one application a month if we were lucky. And now, look at us today. I mean, things are changing, okay? And I think fortunately, the town of Chatham, the Community Development Department is changing. In my opinion, we have a much more aggressive and a building department and a building inspector who's a lot more attentive. It was, you alerted me, I called him, it was done. The stop work was almost immediate. So I think from that perspective, and I'm not going to get into the issue of how much it's costing them to stop work and whether we should have stopped work for 6 months. But, we don't issue a stop work. The Historical Commission does not have the authority. That is the building commissioner. We can just ask the question, and we did, and he agreed. It's also his decision when he felt it was the correct thing to allow some portion to proceed, except in the areas where there was disagreement. The third issue you brought up, and I think it's very important, and you and I have had this discussion for me, the issue of punitive measures, fines. It's the building department, it's the commissioner who does that. And off the record, and I'm saying something, and I'm sure he would not That's a problem. And he says, you know, Frank, when I put a fine in, guess what? I'm in court someplace, okay? And with all due respect, you know, these attorneys are good. And, you know, and he says, what it cost the town to defend that $300 a day fine, and he said, and you're right. So I think what we should do to hopefully is put on our agenda, and I'm sure the building commissioner would be happy to come meet with us and Mr. Briggs, and to have a discussion and use this as an example. You know, did we do the right thing? How do we, how do I respond? And, you know, we don't have a clear process or methodology how to deal with it. You know, right now, it's either a telephone call to myself or to you or you walking down the street. At one point, Jane Moffett, bless her, she's gone, she said that we should assign a member of the commission to every, and to be the watchdog. Well, guess what? Not on my watch, okay? We all devote individually enough time to this, but if we have to talk to the town, if we have to ask the community and the town to do something to provide a watchdog or improve the number of people, I agree with you. And we should ask the builders when they come and to make them sign an oath in blood that they're not gonna follow. I don't know what to do, but it's a problem, it's an issue. And
So, Mr. Chairman, could I make a
I'm sorry.
suggestion in that regard?
Yes, I apologize. Go ahead.
No apology needed. I'm listening to you intently. So, in other circumstances like this, before the Old Kings Highway Committee, and I appear before the Old Kings Highway Committee in a number of the towns, and then kind of wearing my other hat in Orleans on the municipal side, I've found that having a condition, standard condition in your approvals, particularly when it's an old village approval,
Write this down.
that talks specifically about material removal and what the process is and what the obligation first is to examine it, find out whether it's decayed or it's not. We suggested a protocol to you in your approval of 229 Main as a result of comments made by Sarah Korjeff. We try to take those and put them into a protocol. But frankly, that's kind of a general protocol. I'm thinking of one that could be more specific, and you might want to think about that, because I think it would be a good thing to have as a standard condition in every one, certainly of your old village approvals, where you have the right to look at that. That may make some sense. In the Old Kings Highway approval, they have a form where once you get your approval, the chairman calls you up, either the representative, and I don't usually sign these, I have the client sign them, and there's a form that says, thou shalt not, just as you said, make any changes without notifying the commission, and the signature is there. And that's part of the record. What does that do? It just educates the property owner that, hey, when they go to make a change on something, you know what? I signed something, it's in the file, I gotta call the commission.
Well,
So I'm just throwing those two things out to you for consideration.
And I guarantee you, Christina, who's our administrative, I don't know what your title is anyway, but she does all the work, you know, and she's writing it down. And we do have something in the determination. Guess what? It's there. But now, let me ask you a question. You know, I signed the determination, I signed the drawing. A copy of the determination goes to the applicant? So the applicant has it. Now, the applicant could be, you know, and I'm also, very often I ask the question, I got somebody who lives in Washington, I got somebody who lives in Texas,
I
I got an
understand.
attorney, you know, and then we have the builder, you know. How do we get that to be, you know, to be?
That's where the protocol would come in.
That's the problem of that declaration to be transferred to the guy who's got the
Yeah.
hammer in his hand.
Well, you know, the Conservation Commission sometimes requires that you give to every subcontractor, anybody working on the site, a copy of the order of conditions and all of the conditions contained therein. You could have it posted on the job.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a number of things that could happen here by way of education
All right, well,
that could help.
This is a good discussion, and I think, you know, we need to put it on the agenda, and we need to discuss it with the proper people, so we can do that accordingly. And I don't think there's any problem, but I'd like to move on. Yes, quickly.
Just very quickly, I think we need to give some thought to ourselves as we do this, is that there's demolition and there's demolition. and there's renovation and there's renovation. This is not a situation where you said, we're going to increase the size of that porch because we found some rotten boards. You're not changing anything that was not previously approved. You're only replacing some structural issues, which we all want to be addressed. We don't want you to go through this whole house and close it all in with all the rotten boards and
No,
leave
of
them
course
there.
you
That's
don't.
dangerous.
Right.
And we're being on the hook for that. So I think that we have to give some thought to the fact that, like in a situation like this, you're not changing the plan, you're not changing any of the appearances of the house.
It's the materials.
You're making it safe,
And code compliant.
like a contractor would want. I mean, a homeowner or contractor, if I have worked out of my house, which is an older house, have an anticipation that when they open up that wall, they'll find something they didn't expect.
Okay.
I'm not going to say, just put it back. I'm going to say, fix it. So.
All right, yes, Don, let's kind of wrap it up.
I believe I have accomplished the purpose of my bringing this up. I think we need to discuss it in our
Yes.
future, and it's a problem, and we need to make sure we correct it.
Make a plan.
All right, let me just say this. On December 5th, we have one application, and we're going to be hearing the Holly Herbster from PAL, but I think we might have time on that agenda
And I hope
to
there'll be a
do this.
CPC.
Excuse me?
I hope there'll be a CPC person coming for us.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, well, what was it? But either way, Steph, we don't have 8 applications, it's one. All right, so let's plan on doing that, and we'll talk to Jay, and I'll have a conversation with boy, senior moment here now, with Katie Donovan, our Director of Community Development on the issue. I'm sure she will get the message. All right, we
Frank,
have to move on,
Frank,
ladies
I
and
just add
gentlemen.
one thing to it. If before that next session, I believe that we agreed on the determination, there is a paragraph that
It is there.
says largely what Mr. Ford says, so.
We need to enhance it.
Right, no, enhance it or add a signatory to it to
Yeah, we
accept
got
that.
somebody to sign it.
The other, just one other thing I want to point out, that this is more than, I think, the photographs that were submitted with the narrative were taken, I don't know when, but presumably they were around the time of this being discovered, and there's a police report from September 29th. So this it wasn't like a couple days later. This was done and well in progress before it got noticed, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the police report, I'm not sure this was discovered the same day, and maybe Mr. Polinas can speak to that, but the police report finds its genesis in somebody coming on the property and actually cutting
Oh, I understand that.
cutting
I'm
old
just-
sheathing and taking it away.
Right, but the rest of the rot was also exposed at some point there, because you took pictures of it
At some point it was.
contemporaneously.
Ex-
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
It happened before.
There were contemporaneous
It happened
pictures,
before.
and they
No question.
took a long time to build things up around it. It wasn't just.
Yeah,
a
and if it wasn't for Don's eagle eye, we never would have noticed it. Okay, we need to move on, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've given, I think at this point, hopefully, there's a consensus among the board that at this particular point, we can concur that the changes do not affect the historical significance of the property. We can allow them to proceed. So I think, unfortunately, we need a whole bunch of motions here. A, reaffirming the historical significance of the property. B, not to incur any change on Chapter 158. And then C, to not refer to the Cape Cod Commission. Can I impose upon you, Mr. Vice Chair?
I can impose, you can impose, but I'm not sure I'm going to be reflecting what you said, which I could just say, I move what Frank said, but. Because it's 3 parts and doesn't fit into a normal
Okay.
scenario, but, I mean, we're not, was there an issue about,
No, No.
referring it to the Cape Cod Commission? I
Well,
don't
we
know.
have to, we're hearing it both on the 158 and the Cape Cod Commission because it's a contributing structure in the National
All right,
Register
all
District.
right.
And this is a new application. So protocol, the way we've been doing it, we need to reaffirm its historical significance.
Okay. I will do that. I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building located at, where are we, 75 Main Street, is historically significant because it's in whole or in part 75 years old or more and is listed as a contributing structure in the National Register Historic District.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other comments? Roll call, Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame?
Yes.
Aikman?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Porter?
Yes.
Tennyson?
Yes.
Messina, yes. Part two?
Chatham Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated this date will not materially diminish the historical significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Second.
Any other comments? Roll call. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame?
Yes.
Mr. Aikman?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
Ms. Tennyson?
Yes.
Ms. Messina? The chairman has been deficient, as always. Ms. Briggs,
He's not voting.
she's gone? I know that, but there was a piece of correspondence from Ellen Briggs of POP. I apologize, we didn't get to that earlier. Ellen, you still with us? Can I paraphrase what you said to us?
Sure.
Yes.
Go for it, Frank.
Thank you very much. Ms. Briggs from POP, Protect Our Past, has a letter acknowledging the former lighthouse keepers, Joseph Loveland's home at 75 Main Street, stood for 227 years, has been preserved by its inhabitants. She basically feels that there was irreplaceable damage has been done. We're asking the Historical Commission require the owner to return the building to its original architecture and to reflect its historic integrity and historical character, and then choose the choice of careful materials, historic materials, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's what we have been discussing. So Ellen, I think
They're doing that.
we may not have done every dotted I and crossed every T, but I think we have, in essence, and appreciate your correspondence to the application. Okay, let's proceed. We now go on the referral to the Cape Cod Commission.
I move that Chatham Historical Commission confirms that the building located at 75 Main Street is a contributing structure in the National Historic Register District.
Second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Do we include the referral as a separate,
It's a separate
okay.
motion.
All right, Mr. Lear,
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame,
Yes.
Mr. Aikman,
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
Ms. Tennyson?
Yes.
Mr. Messina, the chair votes yes. One last one. Go ahead.
I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds the materials presented this date showing that the proposed alterations do not constitute a substantial alteration to a contributing structure located in the National Historic Register District, and therefore referral for the Cape Cod Commission for review is not necessary.
I'll second.
Thank you by Janet. Second. No other further discussion. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame?
Yes.
Mr. Aikman?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
Ms. Tennyson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much, and we appreciate your patience and consideration.
Yeah, well, it's an ill wind that blows no one good, somebody said, I think we've identified some of the issues here and hopefully have identified a way we can try and make things happen a little bit easier for us, the town, and also for yourself. I recognize the cost involved in these major restorations, and we just have to be careful, and it's for the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk as quickly as possible because I'm supposed to have lunch with my wife, and Larry's closes in an hour.
Uh-oh.
Okay. We have three new business items or to verify, three
Ratify.
Administrative,
administrative reviews.
yep.
I'm sorry. The first one is 96 Highland, and who was that? Was that you,
I
Janet?
went, mm-hmm.
And you felt that the changes that were being proposed were,
Don and I both went, and it will not, my feeling was it will not materially, there's no change to the historical significance. They just want to make a door to come out onto a very small deck in the rear.
oh, yes, I remember that one.
And
Okay.
they're they love it. It's old. It was an old sea captain's house, and it will be not visible from the streetscape at all.
I
So it
concur.
was basically a window and a door in the rear of the property. Okay, we have a motion to approve, reaffirm. Do we vote on these? Yes, we do. I'm sorry. Motion,
So move.
second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Aikman. Okay, roll call, Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame?
Yes.
Mr. Aikman?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
Ms. Tennyson? And the
Yes.
chair votes yes. The second item that we have is 725 Crowell Road. And 75 Crowell Road was, that was moving a window from the front to the back on a very interesting house, a big piece of property with a lovely barn on it.
Beautiful.
And I was there, and I believe you were also, Janet?
Mhm.
So I'd like to get an affirmation from the commission. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second
Second?
by Janet. Thank you very much. Roll call, Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame?
Yes.
Ms. Aikman?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
Ms. Tennyson? And the
Yes.
chair votes yes. Okay. We have a third application, 141 Abyssinian Run. Wonderful
Abyssinian.
name, right? This was a minor window change. I don't think I did that one. Did you
No,
do it?
Don and I did.
You again, Janet?
Yeah, Don and I.
Okay?
Or do you want to, Don?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we went, Don and I went, and basically there are a lot of windows there already, so they want to rearrange basically a few windows, and it will not be, it's facing the water, it will not change the streetscape, and it will not change the historical significance, in our opinion.
I concur.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second? He beat you out. Okay. All right. Here we go. Roll call, Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Mr. Burlingame?
Yes.
Mr. Aikman?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
And Ms. Tennyson?
Yes?
And the chair votes yes. I want to say, if we didn't do this administrative review, we would be doing 11 applications today. So it's working, and they're minor. I have, just quickly, you got to bear with me. I mentioned quickly, old business. I do want to continue the discussion with the delay by neglect. I haven't, Ms. Hamilton, I haven't ignored that. What's happening is that Ryan Christenberry has been in touch with the Cape Cod
I think
Commission.
she took the information that I had.
Pardon?
I think she took the information that I already had.
Right, and but she's pursuing it. It's not the number one task, but they are pursuing it. I don't want to let it go away.
No.
So we are continuing to look at that. And it is interesting, the people are concerned about demolition by neglect in the town. So we will continue that in old business. I'm going to leave it in there. As I said, Preservation Awards 2024, Ms. Tennyson, you volunteered to join that committee with me, remember? Yes, you did. So we're going to have another meeting very quickly. We have how many applications?
One so far.
And we have potentially two more. So it looks like we're going to have a 2024 Preservation Award ceremony in the spring and May. And just but again, now, what I'd like you folks to do, yes, Phil?
Has Manglewood applied for that house on Water Street, School Street?
That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
That renovation is stunning. Oh, my gosh.
Which one?
Near him.
On the corner of Water and School Street.
Oh, gorgeous. Total historic reservation.
Tim Smith.
Oh, okay, yeah, I called him and didn't even respond.
He was sent a letter, so I can reach out.
Yeah, we're at the point where we're gonna reach out to people. But what I would ask you folks, because, you know, you've been around here more than a few years, if you see a house that you did, you know, let Christina know about it, and she will follow up, or if yourself, if you know the applicant, the person, or the builder, you know, give him a tingle, all right?
Gorgeous.
Uh,
Fortune.
All right, we have the status on demolitions delay. You know, 322 Bridge Street is withdrawn.
Yeah.
By the way, the house is for sale.
Guess
And
what?
I met a young fella whose mother lives next door, and I shouldn't be saying this, he potentially wants to try and buy it, and they want to
Great.
keep it as is.
Wonderful.
So it would be great. I mean, that means that we finally did something right here. Okay, and 739 Crowell Road, I guess they withdrew from the ZBA once again, and where we are. I mentioned briefly about the December 5th on the Mass Historic, the archaeological survey update by Holly Herbster, so I hope you would be here. And as well as something that we want to talk about, which is the potential for, as a result of that survey, you're going to take a look at some things which I think are interesting, that we might want to take a real hard look at the archaeological reconnaissance elements of it as it relates to prehistory at the Marconi site. There's a lot of evidence of what happened there, and which was not part of the original application for a National Register District by our good friends, Mr. Norm Pakin. You know, they did a great job putting the Marconi, but, you know, that was not an element of it. And there's a lot more evidence of what we could do and potentially could be something. It was like, well, we should talk more about it on December 5th.
Okay.
And last but not least, you know, some good news with the boathouse. Things are happening. Apparently, the permits for the dredging have been approved, and now it's a matter of put money together. They're probably going to be back before the CPC, looking for more money.
Well, the
We'll see where we want to go. Look at that, Mr. Kean.
I was just going to say, just who we want.
Yeah, but
Are you here for a reason, Mr. Kean?
We have questions that if you could come December 5th.
I am coming.
You are coming. Super.
Okay, so you just, boy, I will tell you, what a setup.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just announcing that things are moving and we might be hearing from the town as far as the US, but let's wait till December 5th. Okay? I'm done.
Fantastic. I don't have to call you.
Anything else that anybody wants to bring before the commission?
Motion to, second.
I don't know how many seconds, I give up. Roll call, Bob,
Sure.
Steve?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Robert, thank you out there, if you're still there.
You're welcome.
We'd like to get you in here so we can hear you get more information directly. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.
In Pennsylvania, so that's how.
Always in Pennsylvania.